I guess we wait.
Yeah.
And see who joins. And just
Yes.
hope that someone joins.
Yeah.
I guess that's what we're gonna do. At least on LinkedIn, I saw that we would have got 20 people joining. Yeah, 24 by now. So that should be okay. We're even live on our YouTube channel. So we have two streams going out. One is on YouTube, one is on LinkedIn.
Love that.
I see. It's really funny when you look on the LinkedIn conference page, then you actually see us right now.
Really? I'm trying to see it now.
I'll check it out on my phone too. But it's good that we're recording this, right? So we can share it to folks who can't make it. Or
yeah. It should record automatically. That's at least what it told me. And then I can just download the recording afterwards.
Oh yeah, I can see it on the live now. Looks cool. I like the screen with all four of us.
Yeah.
Hannah, is it okay if Katarina introduces herself? Because I think I've met Katarina.
You have never met? Oh, that's true. You were not at our. Yes, of course. Go ahead. Start, Kati.
Yes. Hey, I'm Katarina. I'm a data engineer, data analyst, and we with Hannah together we have this FemmeForward mentoring. And I know Hannah from Prague. I'm in Prague.
Ah, okay, nice.
Yeah, we lived together for some time, like a year, I think.
Okay. Thank you for our introduction. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Awesome.
And Kachi has been like a super vital in helping us getting the website up to speed and getting us mentors, and like she's already been in the first part of the mentorship program. So she's been involved for a long time.
I have a
and
person
have you met Elia?
Sorry. I have a person texting me. There is a question. Can you see me on the webinar?
Uh-oh.
So maybe people can actually see us, but we can't see it.
Well, it says, like, I see the button here on me where it says 0 on the little eye icon.
Okay.
So it looks like we have no one yet. Given that this button works, otherwise, I mean, everyone, hello. We don't see that you're live online. I mean, so then we're just talking nonsense until we see that people are joining.
So when I go on live on LinkedIn and I click on it, I can see that there's 11 participants.
Interesting. Yeah, I got a screenshot from participants.
Okay. Well, okay, then we'll start like this.
Okay, I can see Larissa. Yeah, okay. People see us.
Okay, that's amazing. Right. I see a 0 on my restream. That's a great. Well, we're using restream for the first point in time forever, so please excuse us. But now we get started with our webinar. So I'm going to shout out a very big welcome to everyone who's made it, who's dedicating their time to listen to a set of very unique power women that we have together here on unlocking your confidence, how to own your worth and get what you deserve in salary negotiations, in life in general. I think this webinar is for you, especially if you feel, oh, sometimes I am underestimating what I'm able to do, and I'm even not able to communicate what I really want. I level down. If you sometimes feel, and I think we all sometimes feel, that you're leveling down and you shouldn't, then this webinar is really for you. So I want to say, first of all, big welcome and give a round of introductions here to our women in the webinar. We have Olga Skalska from Move and Grow. Olga, do you want to start to give a short little introduction about yourself, what you do, and why you're here today?
Yes, of course. First of all, thank you for an invitation and including me. So my name is Olga Skalska. I am a psychologist, an embodiment coach, and the founder of Move and Grow. And I help individuals and organizations with well-being through coaching, therapy, and embodiment classes, workshops. I consult companies on well-being practices and self-care, as well as I help individual clients with stress, burnout, and any other challenges, life challenges that they face. Today I will try to give you some good tips and tricks and a bit more knowledge regarding how to deal with how to develop confidence and how to how to step by step help yourself emotionally as well through that process.
This is so amazing. If you've ever done any of these sessions like by Olga, I can assure you that your emotional well-being, your confidence levels will increase tremendously. So I really recommend doing that. And then we have Elia King from EqualIT. Welcome, Elia. So amazing to have you as well. Do you also want to give a short round of introductions of who you are and why you're here today?
Yes, I'm so happy to be here. So thank you firstly for inviting, and it feels amazing to join Olga, yourself, Katya as well, to go into some really important topics. So I am the co-founder of EqualIT, and we support organizations globally to recruit inclusive teams, but also combine that with coaching around how to enable more psychological safety, encourage a more inclusive environment and hiring process, because diversity, equity, and inclusion is so vital, I feel, moving forwards. It should be a priority and non-negotiable for every company that's out there. So my background is having done technical recruitment for about 10 years, so supporting people navigate the job interview process, salary negotiations, that really uncomfortable conversation that you have to take on where things like confidence come into play and self-doubt. So as Olga mentioned today, we hope that our tips can really help with that confidence building so you can take ownership of your career and thrive and really get what you deserve.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Elia. Katarina, do you also want to give a short intro to yourself, please?
Yes, I'm Katarina. Hello from Prague, and I'm a data analyst and data engineer and a woman in tech. And together with Hannah, we created this initiative, a mentoring program from woman to woman in tech, which like pairs you from a starting woman in tech with experienced woman in tech, because it's important to have a community and have a body.
Amazing. And I think with that, we can get started. I see that we have now over 11 participants already. So we're going to get started on why are we here today? We will talk about confidence. That's quite clear, right? But it has so many different angles. And our angle here today is quite unique. Why? Because we really want you to have a clear outcome today. We really want to enable you to learn how you can let go of control and approach your next negotiation. Might it be a salary negotiation? Might it be a job entry with ease? And that entails you need to be able to recognize your unique talents. It means that we will help you today to build and strengthen your confidence muscle. So be prepared that at the end we'll share some actionable practices and some insights that you can really take as they are packaged with you to your next negotiation. We know that many women, but also obviously not only women, I think everyone really struggles, especially in the tech industry, to effectively communicate what are our achievements? What kind of value have we brought in our prior jobs? What kind of purpose drives us? This really helps you to negotiate your salary. And this webinar really aims to address this issue and provide you with the strategies that I just mentioned to boost your confidence in such situations. But I'll stop talking now. I'm going to give over the mic first to Olga. And Olga, I want to ask you, as a psychologist, what is the psychology? Can you help us understand what the psychology is behind confidence, especially in situations like job interviews and negotiations?
Mm-hmm. This is a very important question. And I think that there is no person I haven't spoken to that would not want more confidence. People love that word, and they feel like it's something that is a personality trait, that is someone who is just naturally confident, and that is just something that we are born with, which is absolutely not true, because confidence is a skill and it can be built. And I help people on a daily basis to integrate their minds, their bodies, and their spirits, and lead more confidently from inside out. And that can be achieved in a couple of ways. And it's not a one-time practice. It's something that we need to focus on daily. It's a practice that we need to dedicate time to, and energy and intention. So it is a muscle, like any other muscle. Like if you're going to the gym, it's the same with confidence. Confidence is something that we need to develop over time in order to feel safe, and that's a key word, safe, to go after our goals and dreams, and to show up with self-trust. I define confidence as a deep sense of self-trust. And it cannot be acquired just by one thing. It's something that we practice every day.
Thank you, Olga. So I hear like the word trust, self-trust, but also feeling psychologically safe, which is obviously something that environments can help us with. And I think this is a great keyword that brings me to you, Elia King, is environments. So you work a lot in your recruitment activities day to day with organizations. What do you tell them? What kind of like story do you hear from both the tech recruitment side, but also from the people that work with you trying to get a tech job? What does confidence mean there? And how does this component of psychological safety play into the game?
That's a really wonderful question. So this aspect of confidence, I would say, from being an individual, it's really having that self-assurance, so that willingness to try. So when an organization, let's say, is saying we want to see confidence, I really believe it's just that willingness to try. It's rooted in taking action. It's having courage. It's having that self-assurance. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to be the loudest in the room or in an interview, but it's the ability to actually take that action and to showcase that throughout your career you have been able to do that. And again, you have the willingness to try. You trust in yourself and your own abilities. So with that, it's really important to be able to communicate the achievements that you've had throughout your career. And that's really what hiring managers want to be able to learn more about. How are you communicating that in a very deep way, where you're giving tangible examples and showcasing that confidence? When you have a better understanding of that and you take that time to self-reflect and to do the work, and I'm sure we'll dive into that a little bit later, Hannah, on how we can do that, but that also helps with that confidence muscle, right? When you know yourself, when you're in tune with your achievements, you can articulate that so much more confidently in an interview scenario.
Amazing, thank you. Can you give us maybe like one little tip here already about what kind of strategy can I use to trust myself a little bit more in this like one critical moment? Do you have like the recipe, like the little confidence pill that I can take?
I wish there was one out there that works for everybody at every moment in time, because I also want to be very real that sometimes even the most confident people in the room have their moments, right? We can have those aspects where we're not feeling in ourselves. So it's realigning with ourselves and our why and our purpose. So something that helps me, for example, quite a lot is acting as if, thinking about who do I aspire to become? What do I want to achieve? What thing do I want to do? For example, like going on stage, speaking to an audience, very scary. I'm envisioning me already having done that, being successful in it, acting as if. acting as if I was already that person, visualizing it, writing it down as well, the emotions that I felt after completing that successfully in a confident way, and really harnessing that power of self-talk, waking up every day, looking in the mirror, which can be hard, and saying these things. I have the skills and value. I have the ability to demonstrate my value. I am brave. I am resilient. I can face this head on. I've already achieved so much in my career. I should be proud of myself. So that is one actionable thing I would recommend, acting as if and really visualizing and writing it down.
Amazing. So writing it down, as here, there's a key component, like the preparation that you have to do, of course, when you enter such a critical moment. Now, I'm a control freak, which means that I want to control the outcome as much as possible. Obviously, I don't want to like just sit there and be like, yeah, I've prepared all this. I want you to already know that I'm the one that will try it. Olga, this is, especially for control freaks, quite a stressful situation. Can you teach me or tell me, give me some tips on what can I take control over and learn what's actually not in my control?
Yeah, very good question. And just to touch upon what Ellie said, a very, very important piece of what you just shared, I called the spirit part. So talking to yourself as if you were that person, because you are this person already. You are confident, you are powerful, you can trust yourself, and so on. Yes, you are this person already. You just need to practice more tapping into that person, that embodiment of a relaxed, confident, trustworthy person. So that's the spirit part. I call it a higher self, your higher self, your most authentic self. But if you are a control freak, so this, I would like to just say that this is not easy. I would like to, if I could talk about it for hours, I would talk about it for hours, because it's like a very big topic of emotional regulation, self-regulation, self-awareness. It's huge. So I will try to boil it down as much as I can, how to help a control freak or someone who's stressed out. And maybe it's not easy just to tap into that higher self, or that authentic self. And I use in my work a frame called AAC. It's called awareness, acceptance, and choice. And usually people would like to be in the choice already. They would like to be in the higher self, but they are not aware what's really happening with them physically, mentally, emotionally. So they want to jump into right away to, I just want to be confident. Okay, but you're missing some steps. And if you're open, I would like to guide you through a short exercise. Okay? And then we can do it live. And you're always more than welcome to say, no, thank you, I'm good. You're always in charge. Is that okay? I'll guide you, and then we can just explain step by step what we did. Okay?
That's great. This seems like so out of my control already. So I'm
yeah, okay. But again, I'm not going to ask anything private or anything that would put you in some sort of distress. We can just imagine a scenario, and then I will guide you through a scenario, and then I can explain people what can happen. All right?
Hmm?
Cool. So let's just imagine, and I would like you to imagine a situation like a job interview or salary negotiation, something that could potentially put you in some sort of distress. Not a huge stress, but something on this, from a scale from 1 to 10, let's put it on 4 or 5. Can you do that on the spot?
Yeah, I think so. If I have to come up with such a scenario, let's say it's a new tech job that I really want to have. It's a cool project. It fits my expertise. It's something probably in compliance technology. So I really want to have it. And I am in the final round having a conversation with the hiring manager. The hiring manager is an engineer, knows much more than I do. And I'm incredibly nervous.
Okay, good. So I want you to take a deep breath now, and tell me what's happening in your body when you think about that. when you think about that particular scenario?
I feel that I'm becoming quite tense and that I want to talk a lot right away. Like I have there's a kind of like a pressure to immediately say like, oh my God, this is maybe something, totally outside of my abilities. That's what's happening right now.
Okay. And you did something with your hands here. Like, is that a relaxed or is this
No,
tense?
this was tense.
Okay.
Tense.
Okay.
Just really tense.
And what's your breath like when you think about that situation? Is it deep or is it short? Is it neutral?
I probably have little I have a hard time connecting back to my breath. So I'm probably holding my breath.
Oh, holding your breath. Okay. Yeah. Anything with your posture? Anything? And do you feel any tightness or how is your body in general?
Yeah. So in my legs, they're quite cramped. And I think my posture in that situation would probably be a little bit like leaning forward.
Okay, fair enough. Great job. So good observation. First of all, we are observing what's the state you are in. If even just thinking about it, about this possible scenario, our body does not know the difference between imaginary threat and the real threat. So your body, your mind is always trying to protect you. So if you approach a situation or job interview or whatever situation with thinking that, oh, this is something important to me, it's something that my life depends on it, your body and your mind will respond accordingly. So if you said, oh, I feel a bit more tensed and my body wants to like brace, that's a natural response to threat. So first of all, it's good to just observe without any judgment. That's the most important. Without any judgment, what is happening with your body. And that's okay that you feel stressed, that you feel, oh, this is going to be challenging. I need to prove myself and all that stuff, because it's absolutely natural that we are, like, when we care about something, we might feel a bit stressed. So the piece of emotional regulation is kind observation. So awareness, what's happening with me? How's my body responding to that situation? And then observing it without any judgment. Because what we tend to do is that, oh, I'm stressed out, I shouldn't be stressed out. Of course you should be stressed out. It's okay. You're going into something that's unfamiliar. The situation you're going to talk with the person you don't know, that's already challenging, because we are wired for connection. And that might not be the easiest way to connect when you are being assessed by someone. So first of all, observing, awareness. Okay, where am I? What's happening in my body? Then taking it a step further. What is my thinking? What am I thinking right now? Stopping, pausing. So when you said, oh, I want to talk and I want to prove, this is the stress response. This is absolutely stress response. I want to prove and I want to talk over that person so they can see me, so I can get something for myself. I can protect myself in that way. If I'm talking a lot, then they can hear me. But that's not always the best strategy, right? So my second question would be, what would be the possible scenario of you thinking to yourself? What could be the thought here?
I think like it would be, oh my God, I'm going to get a very difficult question that I cannot answer, or they're thinking right now that I'm maybe not the right person for the job because I don't have not sufficient technical background, or I'm just simply not smart enough.
Yes. Okay. So you're telling yourself a story. You don't know that. It's a story. You're creating a story in your mind, because the fact is that you are at the job interview. That's the only fact we can prove in court. So the rest, what you're adding on, is based on your nervous system state. So you're stressed out, you're tensing up, your body does not know the difference. between the real threat and the imaginary threat. So it creates a story to protect you. And the story is they're not going to hire you or whatever. Yeah, you're not smart enough, whatever. People have different kind of beliefs, and sometimes they're not conscious. They are just, if we don't pay attention, they can be very loud, and we can get entangled in those story, and the story can build in. And you can even get into the loop of panic just by that. So you can actually add more stress to your body than the situation itself. So here's the thing, and this is the tool for everyone to practice now. Start distinguishing when you catch yourself stressed out. First, observe your body. Take a deep breath. Stop. Stop for a second. Take a deep breath. Drop your shoulders down. Lengthen your spine. Maybe take a peripheral view. Where are you? So you can send a signal to your nervous system that you're safe. So peripheral view helps with regulating nervous system. Feel your bum on the chair. You have support. If you're standing, feel the feet, the floor underneath your feet. And then come back, take a deep breath. Through your nose, all the way down to your belly. And exhale through your mouth. And just observe. That's the first step. Absolutely the first step. You can't stop the thoughts, but that's the first step. So when you observe you're stressed out and you're like, okay, I'm stressed out. Oh, I'm really anxious. Then say to yourself, okay, I'm anxious. Where is this anxiety? In my tummy, in the guts, in your tummy. Usually it's because of the connection we have brain has with the guts. That's why we say I have a gut feeling. It's because the guts is the fear center. And that's what keeps us alive throughout, history, that we had that feeling, that intuition. So placing one hand on your belly is also a good support to say to yourself, okay, I'm stressed out. And then offering the support to that part of your body that feels uneasy. And from that moment, that's the second step. That's called acceptance. And that's something that a lot of people struggle with emotionally, accepting how we feel. That this is actually a very, very difficult situation, that I'm exposing myself to possible rejection. And we as humans, we are not wired for rejection. We are hardwired for connection. So accepting that the fear is present in your body, it can be enough to actually get out of stress. In many situations, that's enough. Awareness and acceptance can be enough to get rid of the stress. And not even trying to go into that choice and higher self and I can do this. Yeah, that's an optional thing. So the choice is an optional thing. So if your pattern here is to go right away into the fear, you're going into an old story. And the old story is entangled very often to your trauma, to your past conditioning, to your upbringing, culture, all of that crap. And not always this conditioning is actually helping you grow. So the confidence muscle is a lot of time unlearning these beliefs that you acquired as a child or teenager or young adult or adult, that is no longer serving you. It was protecting you. If you tell yourself, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, it might have protected you for some time until it doesn't. Because now you have to break free from those beliefs in order to get what you really want. And this exercise that we did right now is the exercise that I called result formula. And it starts from actually distinguishing what's the fact and what's the thought. What's my first thought based on the old story? So if the fact is, I have a job interview at 12 o'clock on Tuesday, that's the only thing that's real. The rest, what you add on that can actually influence your emotions, is the story. So it can go both ways. And I'll try to picture it for you so you understand what I do. We start from the fact. The fact is, I have the job interview. But if you feel anxiety and stress right away, and your body can feel that, right? Your mind will produce a story based on your belief system. And it can come like, oh, there's so many candidates. It's gonna be very hard to get that job, and I also don't have enough skills, and blah 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 blah. Whatever comes as a thought. If you don't catch it early, and that's a crucial point, you need to catch it early. You need to create space in your body. That's why we take this deep breath, to create some space to catch yourself early going into the old story. It will dictate and it will create self-sabotage. How is it happening? It's happening because you're getting into the old story. Your body does not know the difference between imaginary threat and real threat. You get more anxiety. Your body tenses even more. And you brace yourself, you reinforce the emotion. So the anxiety can actually spiral. It can actually go even up. And then self-doubt, shame, whatever comes as a feeling is coming up. And then your behavior is going to be affected by it. Then the self-sabotage kicks in. So you might actually not be able to articulate your strength. Maybe the stress will cut off your prefrontal cortex, and you will not have memories, or you will not be cognitively able to explain your achievements or your skills in a clear way. So that creates that self-sabotage. And then you have a result. You might not get that job, and it might be different reasons for it, but you will attach it, if you have that old story, to the first belief that I'm not good enough. And then you end up in a cycle. So you recycle that belief all the time. So the way to break free from that is to catch yourself early. Catch yourself early. So when you have that spiraling thought, I'm not good enough, your body starts to respond in the way you've just described. So we are bracing yourself, or having a short breath, maybe some sort of other tightness in your body. Then noticing that and breaking free from that is simply to accept that you're stressed out. But it's a practice, and it's not. I can tell you that now, and I can tell you what could happen based on catching yourself early and then regulating your nervous system to more rest and digest rather than fight or flight, which is the first scenario. So even the breath and what we did with the body to ground yourself, to look around, to anchor to something that is more more that we can engage the body. So the breath, the posture, the maybe drinking a glass of water. So to bringing yourself to the present moment, and then reducing that alertness, because this is alertness of nervous system, to a bit less. It doesn't need to be completely away. That's not possible. It's also in a scenario of job interview. So yeah, getting yourself there, it's a good start. And then distinguishing what's the fact. That's the first step. The fact is it's a job interview. Now, from that place where I'm more regulated, I can tap into a new thought. And that's the part of what Ellie said about choice and about, I can do this. I have my own back. I can have access now to that part of my brain that stress is hijacking. Now I have more space to tap into that wise, compassionate voice in my head that can say, you got this. You can do this.
And I think this is the perfect keyword. I'm self-regulated. I'm in a state where I can actually access my tools. I like to call these things tools. What you're referring, what Ellie also was referring to, is we need to be able to get to our toolbox, right?
Yes.
Our toolbox is so important, because if you are, like me, a very cognitive person that knows about, like, yes, I know I need to self-regulate. Yes, I know that if I stress out, I will self-sabotage. But even knowing that will stress me out even more, because I'm then so afraid of not being able to control my non-controllable self-regulation.
Yeah.
Sometimes. And this is why I always say, it's like, you mentioned something that I just want to highlight here so much again, is the practice practice, practice, because you can train, condition your nervous system in settings like this one, what you just did with me, to respond in a certain way, right? And this is so, so, so important, because that is what gets your nervous system leveled, where you're like, oh, I know the situation. I have been here before. That's fine. I trust that I will respond just like the other 1,000 times. And if you practice another 1,000 times to go into a job interview, at some point you won't be stressed anymore. At some point you will not even, it will be so automatic that because you've reconditioned your nervous system. And I think this is really, really vital to highlight. And it's a great, great exercise. And I think it brings me over to you, Elliot. What are like the tools that I then can use to effectively really communicate my achievements and my worth? What are like the best practices that you see from the industry? What works when I want to say, this is my win, this is my accomplishment, but I don't want to brag around. I don't want to just stand there and be like, I've been so awesome. Look at all of these great achievements. Ugh, that doesn't feel good. What do I do?
Yeah, great question. And also, Olga, excellent exercise. That deep breath felt so good when I did that myself as well. But there's a common theme around all of our discussion, right? It's practice. So with the confidence competency loop, for example, as well, confidence comes from practice. Practice builds competence, and competence builds confidence. So the more we practice doing these things continually, the easier it becomes in any journey. And it's very much the same with how we can effectively communicate our achievements and our wins. So the first thing that I always recommend to people to do before we even think about how we're going to communicate it is actually reminding ourselves of the achievements that we've had along the way, the journey, and reflecting on that. Because far too often as well, the exercise Olga did where we was able to ground ourselves and be still, far too often we're in this journey of chasing the next goal, the next achievement, that we often forget about the achievements we actually have done and give ourselves that credit where it's due. So this is a reminder to really celebrate the little wins. Alina Timofeeva does a really fantastic TED talk on using failure as an opportunity to grow. But within that, she highlights keeping a diary of achievements. So this is a little book, whatever book you want it to be. For me, it will probably be Disney or Harry Potter, because I'm a big nerd in those spaces. But this is your book where you're going to put all of your achievements in. That can be the little things, quite literally, something that you've achieved throughout your day that you're really proud of and you're happy. And within this diary of achievements, put the date, write down, if you're able to, your feelings and exactly what was it that you've achieved. If this doesn't suit you, can you create like a vision board and put post-it notes where you celebrate your little wins and you reinforce those wins for yourself? And document positive feedback and comments as well that you may be receiving from your colleagues, somebody in the community, in the tech community. They may compliment your work or something you've done. Document absolutely everything, so you're able to actually, firstly, track the achievements that you've been having, and you're able to go back to that. So when that aspect and element of self-doubt comes in again, I'm not good enough, I haven't really achieved anything, you go back to this book. You grab your favorite drink, whatever that may be, you read through that and you remind yourself of how amazing you are, because you're seeing it with the tangible examples of things that you've been doing. So your diary of achievements is like your holy grail. So you want to keep that close to you. So that will help you to effectively communicate the more you reinforce those behaviors, those achievements. And then secondly, it's all about self-reflection. So actually taking that time to be still, maybe once every month, once every 3 months, whatever works best for you, and reflecting on your strengths as an engineer or whatever field you're in within the tech space. There are so many wonderful layers to tech. Thinking about really what are your strengths from a hands-on perspective, but also from that human skills perspective as well, and writing that down. Thinking about a significant achievement that you've made as of recently in your career and writing that down in your reflection. Thinking about your biggest challenge recently. How did you navigate that? How did you actually overcome that as well? And how have you recently dealt with any conflicts potentially? It's so important to really write these things down so you're always keeping in tune with it, because these are the type of things that are going to potentially come up in a job interview moving forwards, or in a negotiation if you want to increase your salary. Also reflect on the areas that you want to improve in. Why is that? Really drill into the why. How is that going to add value to your potential new employer or your current employer when you want to go in to negotiate an increase in whatever that may be? And think about, are you being proactive already in improving in this space? If you are, amazing. I want you to write that down as well, exactly what you've been doing. That could quite literally be watching some YouTube videos, reading some articles. The fact that you've already taken some action on that is enough, because again, you're arming yourself with some tangible examples to share in an interview scenario or in a negotiation of how you're taking action on these things. And really get back in tune with your why. If you're working in tech, why? Why are you doing this? What makes your heart sing about working in this industry? Who or what was it that initially inspired you to pursue a career in tech? Why maybe are you looking for a new role? Why are you looking to negotiate your current situation and scenario? What are these reasons? How is it going to impact you? And think about those things on a real deep level. Take that time to be still and reflect on these points. So when you have all of this, it's going to help you have a much better understanding of yourself. So then, as I say, articulate that in these kind of stressful situations and scenarios. The more you know yourself, which isn't easy to do these reflections, I'm certainly not saying it is, but the more you know yourself, the more successful you'll go into this interview with the confidence that you need, because you know yourself, you know you are great. And for anybody that's struggling with those self-reflections as well, because it can be tough, I really encourage you to ask your colleagues or friends, people that you have some kind of collaboration relationship with, ask them to highlight what they feel your strengths are, and also to share a tangible example of something that backs that up. Because again, that's helping to reinforce how great and amazing you really are when we can have that imposter creeping in on our shoulder. And also, it's going to help you when you potentially go into an interview scenario, how to communicate your wins. If somebody says, what's your biggest achievement? What are your strengths? As we say, it can feel a little bit uncomfortable saying, well, I'm this, I'm that. Maybe actually use the comment, the feedback of somebody else to reinforce that strength. Well, actually, my strength is in collaboration. And here's an example that my colleague shared with me recently. This was the challenge that we was taking on. Be really specific with that. These are the actions that I contributed that made the biggest success. And this was the result, the outcome of the work. And if you can quantify that, then even better. There's a framework that we recommend called CAR, challenge, action, result. So when you're packaging these responses in an interview and negotiation scenario, you focus on the challenge, the action, result, it really helps to give that depth. And just on the topic of negotiation specific reflections, something that I encourage you to do is really think about a moment or a time when you well and truly saved the day for your company or for your team. How did your skills lead to the obvious monetary consequences from what you did? What was the value or the increase of value that you're creating to the company, to the team, and to the decision makers? And think about as well, like your advantages and contributions, which cannot easily be provided by others. So what makes you unique and what makes you stand out? So this reflection and the reinforcing the achievements and little wins are some great starting points to help you articulate that a bit more comfortably and effectively, I would say, in these scenarios.
I will always remember the car. I think that's also easy enough to remember. But this is, I think, what I've seen also, like when we hired, in Pleo or so on. This is like the most effective candidates were the ones that actually were able to use this car example, because it builds also the story, I think, that you're referring to. It kind of gets the attention away from you as a person, rather to like your impact how have you helped your colleagues, your company to achieve whatever the objective are. So this challenge action result framework can be incredibly powerful. And I also want to reflect very briefly on what you've mentioned, that you can use other people's story to tell the story for you. Way to do that, for example, is if you have any feedbacks available from your company. Normally, when you work, right, you always have, like, we do 360-degree feedbacks, for example. You can use these and say, here, look, here is what my colleagues have said about working with me. I enjoyed the collaboration as well because of, and then you bring in your why. And that is so much more powerful than standing there and saying, you know, oh, I have achieved a 20% increase in sales from da 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 da, because then it's like always about you as the individual rather than about your impact, your story, your why. And I think that is such a great tool to have. I wish I would have known this much earlier when I started my career. So I find this a really helpful framework. I think this brings us over to, so we've talked a little bit about like our problems, our way of self-regulating, psychologically learning to tap into our awareness, training, practicing our nervous system to respond how we actually want to in these situations, to the little tools that we can use in these type of job interviews. Now we hear from like 3 different initiatives, NGOs that help a lot of people. We either work as mentors, some of us coaches. We are experts that help that really want to help you boost confidence. How can women in tech use these mentors and coaches to gain more confidence? Like, what's in it for me?
That's a really great question. I often feel that when we're in that space as well, it can feel quite lonely, you know, like when we are going through those challenges in our minds that we're not good enough, or I'm not capable of doing this. So through utilizing this sense of community, you really build that support system as well. Like you genuinely, truly uncover that you're not alone in having these feelings. These feelings are okay. They are very normal, but here's the tools and ways you can overcome them. You have that support system. You're able to uncover the solutions. You're able to get things through a different lens and perspective as well. When we can be our own worst critics, when somebody else is looking at what you have done in your career and what you've achieved, and you're explaining that and articulate to them, it can really help you get that different perspective.
I think this is a really good point. Anything from your side as well, Olga?
Absolutely, I agree with what Ellie mentioned. Not to feel lonely. That's a very important piece of it, because I think in our highly individualistic world and very highly disconnected world, we don't appreciate the value of community, and we underestimate how necessary it is for our survival and for our well-being as well. And being part of some masterminds or groups or support systems like that can increase the sense of belonging. And also I will go nerdy again with nervous system. We need other people to co-regulate. We can do as much as we can self-regulate as we do, tap into breath and grounding and all these techniques that we could learn, but there is no way that we can outsource. We can just get by with ourselves. We need other people, and we need receiving support. Like we need other people to help us process certain things. So even in the job interview or salary negotiation scenario, if you're unable to self-regulate, it's absolutely fine to call your friend and say, hey, listen, I have that interview and I need someone to pep talk me. That's okay. But if you also in the tech industry scenario, for women, for example, it's not as many women. It would be beneficial for you to belong to a group like that, to have accountability and support. So there's one way to just feel support, but there's also the part of accountability, that you need someone to healthy challenge you in a way, to call your bullshit sometimes. and to confront you and to push you a little bit. Hey, go there, practice, fail. We're going to be here for you because you show up. So like building the resilience as well and being witnessed. I think that people underestimate the importance of being witnessed by another human being. So that builds the connection when we are witnessed in our vulnerability, in our challenges, in our struggle. So that's another piece of how important it is to be part of some sort of community. Tech, not tech, whatever. It's just highly,
I
highly.
love this witness part. I think this is so important. Like having someone that you feel like, oh my God, this person is observing me. It just pushes you to like another level that is otherwise impossible. I use accountability partners for absolutely everything, from my finances to my yearly goals to my coding endeavors to my work in Clio, whatever. It's like I had a time where I worked with 4 different mentors, which was a little bit too much at some point. I also will admit that. It's like, going too much controlling way. This is the Hannah way. It's like doing everything 120%. Sometimes it's not always good. Don't do that. But have one group. And I think this is where I would like to also give the mic a little bit to Katarina and ask you, like, now with FemmeForward, especially, we're having a mentorship program that is coming up on November 4th, where we still have some open spots available to join as a mentee. We've tested the program before. We have a set of 7 amazing expert speakers. We have a range of crazy mentors that have like achieved so much of their own companies. They're on top of their game and research, etc. What do you think, like, Katarina, how can organizations like FemmeForward help women to have this accountability?
Well, what I may add is that so far we speak a lot about like inner motivation or like inner dynamics, but to have the image complete, there's also like importance of outside dynamics, because it's always like, it's like a sign that you are like also your energy levels, your like self-esteem, whatever, like when you in life, the path is like, it's not linear, it's upside down. Even when like I read some diaries of Monet, the most famous, of all the painters, he had these like periods when he was like completely like, I think I'm not good enough and my work is horrible, and so there's where the importance of outer dynamics, I think, come into play. And your community or mentor or buddy can help you, because you can get like stuck or go to like a blind branch, or you just need some boost of energy, or you be like, no, I'm never gonna like do this, or like, yeah. So that's where it's important and great to have some outer structure which can like help you, because then somebody else can be in their energy boost or they can be like, yeah, no, let's do this, you can do this, or you just like stop on some very small stupid step, but you feel like, I'm never gonna do it, but somebody with their like higher level overview will be just like, but it's just a small step, just like, you can do this. So I think this is super important also for me, and I try to build these structures or ecosystems of people around me, which help me, because I need outer dynamics. I'm good in some fields, but in some, yeah.
I so agree. I like this outer dynamics. And it's also, to say actually, it's not always, you can't be on top of your confidence levels all the time. Sometimes you're down, and that is also okay. But then it's so vital to, like, when you simmer down there, to simmer, but to be aware of it, to learn something from it, but to have this perspective of someone that is outside, has the burden you, and can say, hey, this is just, you're just right here. I've been there before. It will be okay on the other side. I think this is like this role model, like the mimicking that we're getting from that as humans is so important. Thank you so much for sharing. This is really, really great. I would also like to hear from you, Ilya and Olga. How can like EqualIT or working with a coach, what kind of effects do you see? Because I often hear, oh, I don't need a coach, I don't have the money for it, or there's a big list of reasons. And I'm saying this is exactly the issue because you have a list of reasons of why not right now. What do you say to people when you hear these kind of lists of reasons that I just mentioned?
Yeah, we don't have all the answers, right? And unfortunately, we never will. We think we'd like to have all the answers, but when we're able to seek out with others and work with coaches, they help us find answers that maybe we didn't even know we had in the first place to certain aspects of ourselves, our paths, our experiences. And I truly believe that if you can understand more internally into yourself as well, it helps you to better understand why you make certain decisions, why you are a certain way inclined. It helps in so many different ways when you can get those deeper questions and rooted into like your soul answered, and that's often like what working with a coach can also help in some ways, answer those deeper questions about yourself and to help overcome previous experiences, previous things that maybe you're holding on to that are impacting or affecting your job search, for example, moving forwards, or your ability to come out of your comfort zone and come out of your shell. So it can really help you address those deeper rooted problems that maybe you didn't even think you had. They're not necessarily problems, but they're just things that need a little bit of work.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that, Ellie. It's like working with a coach, therapist, or whoever. It gives you an opportunity to practice. A coach is a mirror, a mentor is a mirror for you to see what you can't see. So everything that you project as a belief, an emotion, anything onto that person, if that person is well regulated and centered, they are able to show you and where is your blind spot, how to approach this, give you a tool, give you support, witness your pain, witness your success. And that is so healing. That is so powerful to have that mirror who's unbiased, who's not pushing any agenda on you, but is clearly there for you and for you to take up space. So that's something that I think is an amazing in healing many different challenges within ourselves to be in a relationship, because we get wounded in relationships, but we also heal in relationships. That's why it's so important to have peer groups, community. That's why it's important to have a mentor or a coach to allow yourself to be fully seen for who you are, so you can practice authenticity. And then you can practice being yourself in the presence of someone who will not judge you with whatever you bring to the table as a challenge. So that's one of the things, but the practice is absolutely the most important. You can practice with that person, and then you can take that practice and apply it into job interview, into your romantic relationship, into your friendships, and all the other aspect of life. Yeah.
I think this part is so key to have someone, have different networks, but have this one network of really like people that you feel they don't have to be alike. They don't have to be women and men. It doesn't really matter, but that can at least mirror you where you find, you being very challenged. If you're not challenged in your belief systems, you're not challenged at the core of your identity, then you're probably in a comfort zone. Then you're probably hanging out with friends. That will not get you where you want to be. And that is, I think, almost like the closing note that I want to make is go out there, be uncomfortable, invest in yourself, get coaches like Olga, go and collaborate with Elia from EqualIT to get that next job, join our mentorship program, because it means that yes, you will need to invest, but it also means you can be ensured that you will have a network, people around you that will really, really challenge you at the core. That is sometimes what is needed, I think, to unlearn what we've learned, what we knew, I think, for a long time. We're coming to the end of our webinar. I see that now people are joining again, which is really great. I want to make just one note that we have promised a budget template with like a little goal overview. We'll put that in the comments after the webinar, so you can access it there. If you have a question now, just comment here. We'll answer it. We'll go a little bit over time. It's not a problem. So if you have a vital, if you say, hey, my life problem or my career problem right now is this, can you please, Ellie, or can you please, Olga or Katarina or Hannah Becker, put some words to it? Let us know. We'll address it here. Otherwise, afterwards, as a PM, private message, that also works to either of us, and then we'll be happy to stay in touch. Any closing remarks from your side? What's your last message you would like to give to our for everyone that has been joining us?
From my side, maybe it would be like a keyword dialogue, because I think what's happening here very often is a monologue, which can be very entangling. So a mentor or like buddy friend helps you to think in a dialogue, which is completely different way of thinking, and it can fast forward a lot of things, mirror you, and it entangles some like in your brain.
Yes.
So yeah, that would be from me.
Thank you so much. I love it. Dialogue. I think it's so great. We've just been doing a monologue here all over, but this is, I think, is so vital. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Ellie, do you want to go first?
Go on, Olga. You take.
All right. So first of all, Katarina, yes, absolutely. Get out of your own head. When you have a mentor, when you have a coach, you can actually voice. You will see how powerful it's voicing your ideas out and your worries and everything, and having space for that. That's one thing. The second thing I wanted to say as the last thing from me, because we promise people to teach them how to let go of control. And I don't know if we touched upon that, is for me to tell people, the more regulated you are, the more you practice groundedness and resourcefulness for your mind, body, and spirit, the less control you would want during the process of salary negotiation or any other process, because control comes from fear. If you can manage your fear, then you will not have problems with controlling, and you will be much more happy to surrender and stop proving your worth. It will be more natural for you to just stand, hold your ground, present who you are, and get what you want. It will be way easier than operating out of fear and control. So yes, regulate your nervous system and resource yourself. So as Ellie said, positive reinforcement. Write down your skills, write down your achievements, write down everything that you appreciate about yourself. If you can't do it yourself right now, ask a friend. As Ellie said, get the resource, get your resource box, fill it up and use it to reinforce getting out of fear and state of fear into more ease and relax, and using those tools in this way.
Really powerful, Olga. I absolutely love that. So powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I would say from my side, just to chime in on some already amazing pieces of final thoughts, is confidence isn't about perfection, right? It's about trying. And every experience, whether it's good or bad, it prepares you for something yet to come. Everything truly in life, although at the time it may not feel like it or seem like it, it is a lesson, and you can bounce back from that. And it's about how do you use those lessons to fuel you for moving forwards? How can you grow from it? So don't get too hung up on the things that don't go your way. Embrace that idea of, okay, how can I learn from it? You know, life is unpredictable. Embrace that aspect of uncertainty with adaptability. You really are the master of your reactions and how you then go about moving forwards. And finally, just to smile, because your brain releases tiny molecules called neuropeptides, and that helps to fight off stress. So give your best smile to any situation and it will bring you up and make you feel that bit better.
Yes, absolutely. Agree. Well said.
Right. I love these neuropeptides. They're going to be my favorite word, I think, to close this webinar on confidence. Activate your neuropeptides and go out with a smile. I hope that this has really given you what you were looking for. If you have any comments or feedback for us, please let us know. We're really wanting to have more of these type of conversations and more dialogues as well. So really make sure to leave us a comment, to let us know what you think, what you like, what you didn't like, and we'll make sure to take it into account for next time. Drop us a private message if you want to. And other than that, have a great, confident week ahead and think about this neuropeptides. Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you for a nice chat.
Yeah.
Thank you.